man, look at this thing.
Oh my gosh.
This might be my first review where I really just don't feel strongly about the product either way. And today we are talking about the Kamado Joe SloRoller. So what is the SloRoller? Now, Kamado Joe claims that it's a first of its kind, revolutionary, patented Harvard science that transforms a Kamado Joe into one of the world's most optimal smokers by distributing smoke and heat in rolling, recirculating waves. The SloRoller surrounds food in clouds of delicious smoke, evenly distributing heat. This results in enhanced flavor and significantly reduced hot spots. Now that is what Kamado Joe claims. They ship the Classic 3 and the Big Joe 3 with this SloRoller insert already with it. I bought the insert standalone to use with my Big Joe 2. I picked up the SloRoller from Atlanta Grill Company over Black Friday, and I have been grilling with it for the past 3-ish months. I've done a brisket, I've done a few pork shoulders, and then a bunch of miscellaneous stuff in between. And I have to say that it did not blow me away. I do not think that it is clear cut. Yes, absolutely, you need the SloRoller. I didn't think it would be that, but it definitely was not. Now let's talk about some of the pros and some of the cons of the SloRoller. Now the first pro that I want to talk about is heat distribution. Now I did notice without the SloRoller, just using my heat deflectors, that yes, you would get some warmer spots, some cooler spots across the grilling surface on the Kamado Joe. Really wasn't that big of a deal. Sometimes on some random cooks, the underside of my meat would get much hotter than the top side of the meat, but that was not a consistent thing. And the heat deflectors, in my opinion, worked just fine. But I can say with confidence that the SloRoller does a great job of distributing the heat. You're gonna get very even heat distribution across the grilling surface, and it does a very good job at that. Another thing that I think it does a great job of is that it's gonna give you an awesome smoke ring. The smoke rings that I got off of everything that I put on there, even on pork shoulders, really getting great smoke rings coming off of that SloRoller. So those are really two pretty good pluses of adding the SloRoller. Now, these aren't cons, these are just kind of things to note about the SloRoller. I do not think that it increased flavor. Now, I think that Kamado Joe actually says that in some of their documentation, saying like, hey, the smokiness, I didn't really taste a difference. My wife didn't really taste a difference. Maybe we just don't have refined enough palates, but smoke ring looked great. Flavor kind of tasted the same as everything else that I've had off of the Kamado Joe. Another thing about it that is not a pro or a con, but you don't need to season it. It's just cast aluminum. So I think some people might open it up, think they need to like oil it or, cook it really hot one time before they get cooking. You don't need to do that. You can just throw it in there and start cooking. So let's get into the cons about this thing. And they're pretty short and they're not big of a deal, but I just want to mention some of the things that I thought using the retrofit, which I have, some things that you need to note definitely at home. So I have the Big Joe 2, and I am using the SloRoller, which was not intended for the Big Joe 2, it was for the Big Joe 3. And it definitely, your headroom in the grill is gonna go down. The grill grate sits up a few inches higher. So keep that in mind. I actually did not have an issue with it. I even did pork butts that were pretty thick and I was not, hitting the top of the dome, but you would not be able to do like a beer can chicken or something like that. It's just gonna interfere, it's gonna hit the top of the dome. It's not gonna work well. So keep in mind, the con is you're gonna lose the headroom inside of the grill. The other one, and this surprised me, was actually the grease. So I did a brisket, had no drip pan, just threw it on there. Surely this is how this thing is intended to be used. Maybe I'm just dumb and didn't think it through. The grease just poured down on top of this SloRoller and went into the holes that it has in the SloRoller. And essentially you had grease smoke, like a ton of it, the whole time that this brisket smoked. So that's on me for not having a drip pan, but I didn't know if I needed one and figured, hey, the directions don't say anything about a drip pan. I'm just gonna throw it on there. Did that, and the brisket was not great, in my opinion. And some people say, hey, it just is gonna add flavor or something. No, smoke from a grease fire, they'd end up tasting like hamburgers. I was not a fan of that. So I had to look for a small circular drip pan. I think what I ended up with was like a pizza pan that is smaller than the diameter of the SloRoller, because you don't want to interfere with that airflow, because this hyperbolic insert, the way that it's designed to actually like get the smoke to come out of those holes and get your even heat distribution, I didn't want to mess with that. So I got a nice low profile pizza pan that was smaller than the SloRoller, and I used that for all the cooks after that and had no issue with grease afterwards. So I do want to mention that that was a con that I was not anticipating, because I've done plenty of cooks just using the heat deflectors, and I haven't used a drip pan or anything, and I haven't had any issue with grease fire ever in the Kamado Joe. So using the SloRoller was the first time ever, and it could have just been a freak thing, but I did use a drip pan for every other cook that I did. And the pork shoulders, they came out awesome. They came out absolutely awesome. Pretty much the same, other than visually seeing the smoke ring. I really think they were the same as not having the SloRoller in there. Your mileage may vary, for sure. Your palate may be more refined than mine is, absolutely. But this is probably one of the few reviews where I don't really feel strongly either way about the product. Also, this wasn't sent to me. I bought it with my own money. I think I paid $250 for mine, and I probably will continue to use it more and more. So if you're curious on updates or if things change, follow me on Instagram. I post a lot of like what I'm grilling and whatnot, and we'll put my thoughts there. So if you're interested in keeping up with that, you can check out my Instagram handle. I might be suffering a little bit from having really high expectations. The things that Kamado Joe was saying about this, I think I expected too much of the flavor. I was really expecting a big change in flavor when I'm getting great flavor even without it. But the heat distribution was a big pro, but outside of that, you know, if you want it, great, go get yourself a new toy. You definitely don't need it if you have a Kamado Joe already. I will also say I used it multiple times with the Fireboard, had no issues whatsoever using the Fireboard in conjunction with the SloRoller. So those things played together just nicely and no issues. I hope this kind of lame review video was helpful if you are in the market for the SloRoller insert for your Kamado Joe. Thanks as always for watching Break It Yourself. Don't forget to thumbs me up. And as always, the most important thing that you can do for the YouTube algorithm is to share this video. So if you know somebody who's got a Kamado Joe or who's interested in the SloRoller, go ahead and shoot this video over to them. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you next time.